XJRunner brings an easy-to-use boundary scan test environment to your production line. Powerful test and programming capabilities, inherent efficiency, audit trails, an easily understood GUI, and a straightforward way to integrate it with your own test software. These all combine to maximise your test throughput and drive down your costs. XJRunner harnesses the power of Boundary Scan to let you check for assembly faults on a board or a multi-PCB unit. It's fast and supports both IEEE 1149.1 and 1149.6 testing. But it's not only JTAG devices it can test. Flashes, RAM, Ethernet PHYs, and loads of other peripherals can all be checked. What I'll do in this video is share with you some of XJRunner's many advantages. To start, let's consider the way it can provide a simple, uncluttered user interface and display a clear pass-fail result. This UI style is designed for factory operators, but XJRunner users with appropriate privileges can switch to an advanced GUI style that gives access to more advanced features. In XJRunner's full test output, for instance, hyperlinks allow the location of board faults to be displayed on the PCB layout, greatly simplifying the debugging process. Other links open the integrated schematic viewer to show affected pins or nets on the circuit diagram. Engineers with maximum access can also be given the ability to temporarily enable, disable, or continually loop specific tests from the project's test list. But whatever degree of functionality they're given, it's always good to know that the integrity of the tests is maintained throughout, because the tests themselves can't be edited by XJRunner users. While we're talking about simplifying fault finding and repair, XJRunner includes support for a fault dictionary. This allows a dictionary to be populated with suggestions on rectifying common faults. If one of those faults then occurs on the unit being tested, XJRunner will display the relevant debugging advice for that particular problem. And if you already have your own test environment, you can simply integrate XJRunner's features into your software. That applies whether you've written bespoke code in something like C#, created your system in applications such as LabVIEW or LabWindows CVI, or organised your test routines in test executives such as TestStand. But it's not only testing that XJRunner excels at. It also allows a variety of programming methods to be used, including XJFlash, which can run at speeds close to the flash device's theoretical maximum. To optimise your test time, tests can be set up so they only run if defined criteria are met. For example, we just spoke about programming, but if one of the previous tests failed, you might not want to program the board. For scenarios like that, conditions can be set in the test list so that it only attempts to program the flash if all previous tests have passed. To provide traceability, there's full support for serial numbers, so results can be tied to the unit being tested. For example, it can take input from a barcode scanner, store serial numbers in log files, program them into boards, and read them out. Then there are the configurable machine-readable log files, which means you can easily integrate XJRunner's output into your own results or data management system. You can also configure XJRunner to execute additional code once the test is finished, based on the result. For example, it can be made to automatically move the log file to your quality database if the unit fails, or to send an alert if the failure rate becomes too high. And coming back to efficiency, XJRunner helps you maximise throughput while keeping floor space to a minimum by allowing you to test multiple units in parallel from a single PC. An added bonus is that this configuration only needs a single XJRunner license, so it keeps your costs down too. There's another advantage to how the licenses work. Because the software license is normally held in the JTAG controller, you can install XJRunner on as many PCs as you want, and simply move the XJ-Link 2 between stations or production lines as required. You're not tied to using it on just one specific PC. As an aside, you may like to know that network software licenses are also available as an alternative, offering the flexibility to share licenses between sites. With contract manufacturers in mind, all the information that the production team needs is transferred in a single file that's compressed and protected against tampering. How much information is in that file, though, is determined by the design authority. It will contain the data needed to run the tests, but they can also choose to include schematics and layout info to help with debug. This flexibility allows the originator to decide how much access is given to their IP. And setting up the production line to use XJRunner is easy. Other than a power supply for the board, the only other basic requirements are a PC and a JTAG controller. The USB XJ-Link 2 controller weighs in at under 100 grams and is no larger than a pack of cards, so you can easily move it around the shop floor to wherever it's needed. XJRunner works with all XJTAG controllers, including the XJ Quad, which can test 4 units simultaneously, XJTAG's PXI cards, and versions of XJ-Link 2 that can be installed in ICT machines from Keysight, Speyer, Teradyne and Takaya. Integrating XJRunner into your existing ICT systems and flying probe testers means all the testing can be done in a single step, but you can equally well use XJRunner standalone. XJRunner has been designed specifically for production environments and is suitable whether you're in high-volume manufacturing or if it's just a handful of prototypes you're building. Many world-leading companies already benefit from XJTAG Boundary Scan. Watch the companion video to learn the advantages it can bring to your production line and to see it in action. Want to learn even more? Why not join one of our free webinars? As well as being taught how Boundary Scan works, you'll get hands-on training in which you use the software yourself on a remote PC and test a board. You can also use XJTAG on your own hardware with a free 30-day trial, and our engineers will even set up the tests on that board for you without charge. Find out more by visiting xjtag.com to book a webinar, arrange a demonstration, or take a free trial.